The wire taped to my ribs dug into my skin with every breath, a constant reminder of the lie I was living. 6 months I'd spent behind this bar, perfecting martinis and playing the role of Lily Chen, struggling bartender. 6 months tracking Alessandro Dante, the man the FBI called the most dangerous organized crime figure on the West Coast. Tonight, that assignment ended. Through my earpiece, Special Agent Torres' voice was a cold whisper. All teams in position. Subject is in the corner booth. We move in 3 minutes. I watched Alessandro from across the dimly lit space of Velvet Hour. The way he sat alone in booth 7, his profile sharp in the amber glow. A man who commanded fear with his presence alone. A man I was about to help capture. Except something felt wrong. The tactical team entering through the main door. Too obvious. Too sloppy. The way Viktor Kozlov's men had been circling the block all evening. This wasn't an arrest. This was an execution disguised as one. My hand moved before my brain could stop it. Pen. Napkin. 7 words that would destroy my career. They know you're here. Run. The clink of glasses and low hum of jazz filled Velvet Hour, the upscale cocktail bar that had been my prison for half a year. My feet ached in these designer heels the FBI had provided for my cover, and my head pounded with the weight of what was about to happen. Lily, booth 7 needs attention. Marco. My manager, who had no idea he'd been employing a federal agent, gestured toward the shadowed corner where Alessandro Dante sat. My heart kicked against my ribs. Against the wire hidden beneath my black silk blouse. Copy that, I murmured, the words double-edged. Marco thought I was acknowledging him. Agent Torres, listening through my earpiece from the surveillance van 2 blocks away, knew I was confirming I'd heard her countdown. 2 minutes until breach. I grabbed a fresh napkin and approached booth 7, my bartender's smile perfectly in place. 6 months of watching Alessandro had taught me his patterns. He came here every 3rd Thursday, always alone, always ordered Macallan 25 neat, always sat with his back to the corner so he could see every entrance. What the FBI file hadn't captured was the way his presence changed the air itself, how his dark eyes held intelligence and something else, a weariness that seemed wrong for a man of only 34. Good evening, Mr. Dante, I said, using his real name for the first time. His eyes lifted to mine, and I saw the flash of recognition. He knew I knew. Lily. His voice was smoke and velvet. You've never called me that before. Because before tonight, I'd played oblivious. The sweet bartender who didn't recognize the most wanted man in California sitting in her section. Your usual? I asked, my hand trembling as I set down the napkin. 1 minute 30 seconds. He studied me with those unsettling dark eyes. You're nervous tonight. Why? I could feel Torres' tension through the earpiece. Could sense the tactical team positioning outside the main entrance, exactly where Alessandro would see them if he looked. And that's when I saw them. Not FBI. Wrong body language. Too casual. 3 men in dark suits filtering through the main door, their hands inside their jackets. Kozlov's men. My blood turned to ice. This wasn't a clean arrest. The FBI was walking Alessandro Dante into an ambush, and from the chatter in my earpiece they had no idea. You're Macallan, I heard myself say, my voice distant. But first, I need to give you something. I pulled the pen from my apron with shaking hands. Wrote 7 words that would end the life I'd built, the career I'd sacrificed everything for, the oath I'd taken. They know you're here. Run. I slid the napkin across the polished wood, positioning my body to block the sightline from the door. Our eyes met, his narrowed, reading the message upside down. Then his gaze lifted to mine, and in that moment, something passed between us. Recognition, question, and something that felt dangerously like trust. Why? He asked, his voice barely audible. 30 seconds. Because this is wrong, I whispered, the truth escaping before I could stop it. He stood in one fluid motion, his hand brushing mine as he palmed the napkin. The contact sent electricity up my arm. What's your real name? Lily Chen, I said. And I'm so sorry. He studied me for one more heartbeat, then moved. Not toward any door, but toward the kitchen, the one exit the FBI hadn't accounted for because Marco had told them it was alarmed. It wasn't. I disabled it 2 days ago during inventory, a precaution I couldn't explain even to myself. All units, subject is mobile. Torres' voice exploded in my ear. Chun, what the hell is he doing? I watched Alessandro disappear through the kitchen doors. Watched the 3 Kozlov men realize their target was escaping. Watched them pull weapons. And watched the FBI tactical team burst through the main entrance, guns drawn into absolute chaos. Shots fired! Shots fired! Someone screamed. I dropped behind the bar as gunfire erupted. Customers screamed. Glass shattered. And through it all, I could only think one thing. I just saved a criminal's life and destroyed my own. When the smoke cleared, the Kozlov men were down. The FBI had secured the scene. And Booth 7 sat empty except for an untouched glass of Macallan 25. Agent Torres appeared in front of me, her face a mask of cold fury. Extraction! Now! She grabbed my arm, hauling me toward the employee exit. But not before I saw it. A small piece of paper tucked under the Macallan glass. A napkin with a phone number written in elegant script. And below it, 3 words. Trust works both ways. The safe house smelled like stale coffee and failure. Agent Torres threw a folder onto the metal table between us. Crime scene photos spilling across the surface. 3 dead Kozlov soldiers. 73 terrified civilians. And 1 empty booth where Alessandro Dante should have been sitting in handcuffs. 6 months, Torres said, her voice lethal calm. 6 months of surveillance, wiretaps, undercover work. Blown in 30 seconds because you decided to play hero. I stared at the photos, my hands still shaking. They'd ripped the wire off me in the van, the adhesive tearing skin. Now I sat in a cold room in an FBI safe house somewhere in the industrial district, wearing borrowed clothes and facing a career-ending interrogation. It was a hit, I said quietly. Those weren't customers. Kozlov's men were there to kill him. That's not your call to make. Torres slammed her palm on the table. Your job was intelligence gathering, period. Not tactical decisions. Not warnings. And certainly not obstruction of a federal operation. Special Agent Kim, Torres second, leaned against the wall with his arms crossed. 3 possibilities, Chun. 1. You're compromised and Dante flipped you. 2. You panicked and acted on emotion. 3. You're dirty and have been feeding him information all along. My stomach dropped. I'm not dirty. Then explain the napkin. Torres pulled an evidence bag from the folder. Inside, the napkin I'd written on, retrieved from Alessandro's discarded table. My handwriting. My betrayal immortalized in black ink. I saw the Kozlov men, I said, meeting her eyes. I recognized Victor's lieutenant from the surveillance photos. They weren't there for drinks, Torres. They were positioned at every exit. If we'd moved in, Alessandro would be dead, and we'd have nothing. We have nothing anyway, Torres snapped. Except a blown operation, 3 dead Russian mobsters, and a federal agent who committed obstruction at minimum. Treason at worst. The word hung in the air like poison. Treason. Career over. Criminal charges. Prison. Kim pushed off the wall. Dante used the kitchen exit. The one you told us was alarmed. My mouth went dry. I was told it was alarmed. Marco said you were in charge of inventory last week. Including security systems. Kim's eyes were hard. The alarm was disabled from the inside. With an access code only 3 people had. Marco, the owner, and you. Oh God. I had disabled it. 2 days ago, citing a malfunction I'd fabricated. At the time, I told myself it was operational security, keeping escape routes fluid. But had I known? Subconsciously, had I already been planning to help him? I can fix this, I said, desperation creeping into my voice. Let me reestablish contact. I can. Why would he trust you? Torres cut in. He knows you're FBI now. You think he's going to welcome you back with open arms? She was right. Alessandro had vanished into the wind. By now, he'd have changed locations, protocols, everything. I destroyed 6 months of work and gained nothing. Except that napkin. The one with the phone number. Trust works both ways. Give me 72 hours, I said. If I can't make contact, I'll accept whatever consequences you decide. Torres and Kim exchanged a look. Some silent communication passed between them. The official story is that Dante was tipped off by an unknown source, Torres finally said. Kozlov's men moved independently, triggering the firefight. You're a traumatized witness who's being relocated for safety. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Torres leaned forward. You have 72 hours to prove you're not compromised. Make contact, gain his trust, and bring us something we can use to arrest him properly. If you fail, or if I suspect for 1 second you're working for him, I will personally ensure you spend the next 20 years in federal prison. Understood? Understood. They released me at 2 a.m., dropping me at my apartment with a warning to stay put. My real apartment, not the cover one. As if I could go back to my fake bartender life after tonight. I climbed the stairs to my 3rd floor unit, exhausted and terrified. My career hung by a thread. Alessandro Dante was in the wind. And I had no idea how to find a man who'd spent his entire life avoiding people like me. I unlocked my door and froze. Someone was inside. I could feel it. My hand went to my weapon, except the FBI had confiscated it during extraction. I was unarmed, alone, and stepping into darkness. The lights flicked on. Alessandro Dante sat in my armchair, perfectly calm, holding something in his hand, my FBI badge. Hello, Agent Chun, he said, his dark eyes unreadable. I believe we have much to discuss about why you saved my life tonight. His other hand rested casually on the arm of the chair, on top of a gun. Starting with, he continued, his voice soft and dangerous, whether I should thank you or kill you. I didn't reach for a weapon I didn't have, didn't scream, didn't run. Instead, I closed the door behind me and faced the man I'd betrayed the FBI to save. How did you find me? My voice was steadier than I felt. Alessandro gestured to my badge with the gun barrel. Special Agent Lily Chen, 5 years with the Bureau. Decorated for valor in the San Diego cartel takedown. Graduated top of your class at Quantico. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You've been watching me for 6 months. Did you really think I wasn't watching back? My blood ran cold. How long have you known? Week 3. He set the gun down on the side table, not threatening, but not out of reach either. You were good, better than most. But you made small mistakes. You knew too much about wine for someone working 2 jobs. Your hands had no scars from years of bartending. And you watched people the way we do. Like threats, not customers. 6 months of work. He'd known almost from the beginning. Then why didn't you run? I asked. Why keep coming back? Because I wanted to understand what the FBI thought they knew about me. He stood, moving with predatory grace. And because I was curious about the woman behind the cover, the one who disabled that alarm 2 days ago. The one who wrote me a warning tonight when she should have let me walk into that ambush. He was close now. Close enough that I could smell his cologne cedar and something darker. Close enough to kill me if he wanted. Why did you save me, Agent Chen? The question I'd been asking myself for hours. The one that had no good answer. Because it was wrong, I said. The Kozlov men were there to execute you. The FBI didn't know or didn't care. Either way, I couldn't. I stopped, hating how it sounded. How weak. Couldn't let me die. He finished for me, something shifting in his expression. Even though I'm the monster in your file. The organized crime boss. The murderer. Are you? I challenged. A murderer? I've killed men, he said without hesitation. In self-defense. In protection of my people. Does that make me a monster or a survivor? I thought of the FBI file. Pages of allegations, circumstantial evidence, witness testimonies from criminals cutting deals. But no bodies. No victims' families seeking justice. Just competitors and corrupt officials claiming Alessandro Dante was a threat. What do you want from me? I asked. He moved to my window, looking down at the street. The same thing you want. The truth. I know the truth. You run a criminal organization. I run a protection network, he corrected. For communities the police have abandoned. Italian immigrants, small business owners, families terrorized by the Kozlovs and ignored by law enforcement. He turned back to me. Your FBI file is fiction, Agent Chun. Written by people who want me gone because I'm bad for their business. And what business is that? Human trafficking. Drug distribution. The things I actively prevent in my territory. His jaw tightened. Viktor Kozlov moves women and children through this city like cargo. He has cops on payroll, politicians in his pocket, and now he's trying to frame me for his crimes to eliminate competition. I wanted to call it a lie. Manipulation. But something in his voice rang true. Prove it, I said. Alessandro reached into his jacket slowly, watching my reaction, and pulled out a flash drive. Financial records. Shipping manifests. Police reports that were buried. Communications between Kozlov's organization and certain FBI officials. He held it out. Everything you need to know that you're hunting the wrong man. I stared at the drive. Taking it meant crossing another line. Believing him meant questioning everything the Bureau had told me. Why give this to me? Why not leak it yourself? Because I need someone inside the FBI I can trust. Someone who's already proven she'd choose justice over orders. His dark eyes held mine. I need you, Lily Chen. And whether you admit it or not, you need me too. My phone buzzed. Text from Torres. Status report. Now, Alessandro noticed. Your handler. Wondering if I've killed you yet. He moved toward my door, then paused. You have a choice. Give them that drive and watch them bury it. Or work with me to take down the people actually destroying the city. You're asking me to commit treason. I'm asking you to be the agent who saved my life because it was right. Not the one who follows orders blindly. He opened the door. You have my number. When you're ready to see the truth, call me. Wait! I grabbed the flash drive before I could overthink it. If I do this, if I look at this evidence, what do you want in return? His smile was dangerous and sad at once. Help me protect the people who can't protect themselves. And maybe, Agent Chen, find out who you really are beneath that badge. He left, disappearing into the hallway like smoke. I stood alone in my apartment, holding a flash drive that could either vindicate or condemn me, with a choice that felt like no choice at all. My phone buzzed again. Torres. I looked at the drive in my hand, at the badge Alessandro had left on my table, at the woman in the window's reflection who didn't recognize herself anymore. Then I opened my laptop and plugged in the drive. The first file that appeared was a video. Timestamped 3 weeks ago. Location, FBI Regional Office. And in the frame, Agent Torres shaking hands with Viktor Kozlov. I watched the video 3 times, my hands shaking harder with each replay. Agent Torres. My supervisor. The woman who'd recruited me, trained me, trusted me with this operation. Sitting across from Viktor Kozlov in a private room, sliding an envelope across the table. His smile, her nod. A handshake that looked like a deal. The timestamp. 3 weeks before the raid on Velvet Hour. I clicked through the other files on the drive. Bank records showing payments from offshore accounts linked to the Kozlov organization into what appeared to be a shell company. Names FBI agents, city officials, judges, all connected, all corrupted. And buried in a subfolder, police reports, dozens of them. Missing women. Disappeared children, all from neighborhoods where the Kozlov organization operated. All marked unfounded or insufficient evidence by investigating officers whose names appeared in those bank records. My stomach turned. The communities Alessandro claimed to protect. The crimes he said he prevented. It was all here, documented, real. At 3 a.m., I called the number from the Napkin. He answered on the first ring. You watched it. Is it real? I needed to hear him say it. Every frame. Every transaction. His voice was quiet. I've been collecting evidence for 2 years, Agent Chen. Waiting for someone in law enforcement who wasn't bought. Someone who might actually care about justice. Torres has been using me, I said, the betrayal cutting deep. The entire operation. She wanted me to deliver you to Kozlov's men, didn't she? While looking like a legitimate FBI arrest. Clean. Defensible. He paused. You saved my life, Lily. But you also saved yours. If I'd been killed in that club, you would have been the convenient scapegoat. The agent who failed to contain the situation. I closed my eyes. I'd been a pawn. A disposable asset in someone else's game. What do we do now? I asked. We? Something shifted in his tone. You're ready to work with me? I'm ready to stop the people actually hurting innocents, I said. Even if it means going against the Bureau. Then meet me tomorrow night. I'll text you the address. Bring the drive and Lily. His voice softened. Bring yourself. No wire, no backup. Just trust. The address he sent led me to a nondescript warehouse in the industrial district. Alessandro waited inside beside a surveillance setup that would make the FBI jealous screens showing live feeds. Maps, photographs pinned to boards. Welcome to my real operation, he said. I studied the boards. Faces of missing women. Children. Routes marked in red trafficking corridors. Blue pins for safe houses. Green for businesses under his protection. This is what I do, Alessandro said quietly. The FBI thinks I'm running guns and drugs. I'm running an underground railroad for people trying to escape the Kozlov's network. How long have you been doing this? Since my father was murdered. His expression hardened. Antonio Dente wasn't a criminal. He was a community organizer who got too close to exposing Kozlov's trafficking operation. They killed him and made it look like a mob hit. I was 18. I inherited his organization, which was really just terrified families trying to survive. He moved to a photograph on the board. A man with kind eyes and Alessandro's strong jaw. I became what they accused him of being. Built real power, real resources. So I could protect what he died trying to save. The weight of it settled over me. This man wasn't the monster in my file. He was someone who'd weaponized their trauma into protection for others. Why did you really warn me, Lily? He asked, turning to face me. The truth this time. I thought about that moment at the bar. The instinct that overrode training, duty, career. Because when I looked at you, I said slowly, I didn't see a criminal. I saw someone trying to survive in a broken system. Someone who, I stopped, the truth too raw. Someone who what? Someone who reminded me why I became an agent in the first place. I met his eyes. To protect people, not serve corrupt bureaucrats playing politics. Something passed between U.S., understanding, recognition, the beginning of trust. Then let's protect people together, he said. We spent hours reviewing his evidence, planning how to expose the corruption. Alessandro showed me hidden camera footage of Kozlov's operations warehouses where women were held, routes they used, officials who looked the other way. We need more, I said. Direct evidence linking Torres to active crimes. The video isn't enough. I have people inside Kozlov's organization, Alessandro said. They're planning a major shipment next week. If we can document it, prove Torres knew and allowed it. His phone buzzed. He checked it, and his face went pale. What? My source. He says Kozlov knows I have the drive. He's moving tonight instead of next week. Alessandro was already grabbing keys, a weapon. They're going to eliminate the evidence. And the witnesses. Where? The safe house where we keep rescued women before relocating them. His voice was tight with fear. 15 people, Lily, including children. How far? 20 minutes. Then we go now. I grabbed my own weapon, the backup piece I kept in my apartment safe. Together. He looked at me, surprise and something warmer in his eyes. You're sure? I told you. I'm ready to stop the people actually hurting innocents. I headed for the door. Let's go. We took his car, speeding through empty streets. Alessandro drove with controlled precision, his jaw tight. I could feel his fear not for himself, but for the people he'd sworn to protect. They trust me, he said quietly. If something happens to them, nothing will happen, I interrupted. We'll get there first. We turned onto the industrial road leading to the safe house. And that's when the first gunshot shattered our windshield. Alessandro swerved hard right as another bullet punched through the passenger window, missing my head by inches. Glass exploded across the dashboard. "Get down!" he shouted, one hand on the wheel, the other reaching for his weapon. I was already moving, releasing my seatbelt and twisting to return fire through the shattered rear window. Two vehicles behind us, black SUVs with no plates. Kozlov's men. "They knew we were coming," I said, ejecting my spent magazine and slamming in a fresh one. "Someone tipped them off." "Your phone," Alessandro growled. "FBI tracking." Damn it, he was right. I threw my phone out the window as we took a hard corner, tires screaming. The SUVs stayed close, bullets punching into our trunk. "The safe house?" I asked, compromised. "We can't lead them there." He made a split-second decision, yanking the wheel left into a narrow alley. "Hold on." The car barely fit between buildings. Trash cans exploded as we clipped them. Behind us, the SUVs struggled to follow, their wider frames scraping brick. Alessandro killed the headlights, taking another sharp turn into a service tunnel I hadn't even seen. We plunged into darkness, the engine echoing off concrete walls. "Where are we going?" "Back up, safe house." Fullback protocol. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. 5 minutes if we lose them. We burst out of the tunnel into an abandoned industrial complex. Alessandro cut the engine, letting momentum carry us behind a collapsed warehouse. We sat in darkness, listening, breathing hard. The SUVs roared past on the main road, missing our hiding spot. "They'll circle back," I whispered. "We need to move." Alessandro was already out of the car, weapon ready, scanning the perimeter. I followed, adrenaline singing through my veins. This was the most alive I'd felt since joining the bureau, not following protocol or orders, but acting on instinct, protecting people who needed it. We moved through shadows to a nondescript building with boarded windows. Alessandro input a code on a hidden keypad, and a reinforced door clicked open. Inside was a studio apartment, Spartan but functional. Medical supplies, food, weapons, cash. A proper safe house for when things went wrong. "You're bleeding," I said, noticing the dark stain spreading across his shoulder. Alessandro looked down as if surprised. "Grazed me during the first volley." "It's nothing." "It's not nothing." "Sit." I grabbed the medical kit, my training kicking in. "Shirt off." He hesitated, then complied. In the harsh fluorescent light, I saw his torso properly for the first time, a map of old violence. Scars from bullets, knives, burns. Stories of survival written in damaged skin. "Jesus, Alessandro," I breathed. "Occupational hazard." He watched me with those dark, unreadable eyes as I cleaned the wound. My father's world became mine. The scars came with it. The bullet had carved a furrow across his shoulder, muscle painful but not serious. I worked silently, cleaning, applying antiseptic, stitching with hands steadier than I felt. "You're good at this," he said. Field medicine was part of my training. I tied off the last suture. "Though usually I'm patching agents, not criminals?" His voice was soft, not angry, just acknowledging the space between us. I was going to say people I care about. The admission slipped out before I could stop it. His hand caught my wrist, gentle but firm. "Lily." I looked up, meeting his eyes. We were close, so close I could feel the heat from his skin, see the gold flecks in his dark irises. "Earlier tonight," he said quietly, in the car. "You asked why I really warned you. At the bar. You said it was instinct. It was more than that." His thumb traced my pulse point. "You looked at me and saw a person, not a target, not a case file. A person." He paused. "No one has done that in a very long time." My heart hammered against my ribs. "Alessandro, I'm still FBI. Whatever this is. I know who you are." He stood, closing the distance between us until there was no space left. "And you know who I am. All the ugly truth of it. And you're still here. I'm here because it's the right thing. You're here because you feel this too." His hand came up to cut my face. "This thing that's been building between us since the moment you slid that napkin across the table." He was right. God help me, he was right. This is dangerous, I whispered. Everything about me is dangerous. His forehead touched mine. But I would never hurt you, Lily. You must believe that. I did. Against all logic, all training, I believed him. If I do this, I said, my voice barely audible, if I cross this line, there's no going back. My career, my life, everything changes. I know. His breath was warm against my lips. So I'm asking, do you want this? Do you want me? In answer, I closed the distance and kissed him. The kiss was gentle at first, questioning, then deepened as his arms encircled me, pulling me closer. He tasted like adrenaline and danger and something that felt dangerously like coming home. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, his eyes were darker than I'd ever seen them. Lily, he murmured, trailing kisses along my jaw. Tell me to stop. Don't stop, I whispered back. What followed was a blur of desperate touches, shed clothing, whispered words in English and Italian. He was both careful and consuming, his hands learning every curve like he was memorizing something sacred. Afterward, we lay tangled in the narrow bed, my head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow to normal. His fingers traced lazy patterns on my bare shoulder. I have a daughter, he said quietly into the darkness. I lifted my head, surprised. What? Sophia. She's 8. His voice held a tenderness I'd never heard before. Her mother died in childbirth. Complications. Sophia lives with my mother-in-law in protective hiding. She's the reason I do everything. Why I can't stop. Why I can't walk away. The revelation shifted something in my chest. This wasn't just a man protecting his community. This was a father fighting to give his child a safer world. Does she know what you do? She knows I help people. That's enough for now. He pulled me closer. I want you to meet her. When this is over, when it's safe. Alessandro. I know it's fast. I know we're in the middle of a war. But Lily, if tonight taught me anything, it's that tomorrow isn't guaranteed. I want you in my life. In Sophia's life? If you'll have us. My throat tightened with emotion I couldn't name. 3 days ago, I'd been an FBI agent with a clear mission. Now I was lying in the arms of my target, planning a future that should be impossible. I'd like that, I whispered. His arms tightened around me. Then we survive this together. We take down the people who are really destroying lives. And we build something better. I drifted into sleep feeling safer than I had any right to, wrapped in the arms of the most dangerous man I'd ever met. What I didn't know, what I'd forgotten in the chaos, was that the wire I'd been wearing earlier was still in my jacket pocket. Still recording. Still transmitting. FBI surveillance van 6:47 a.m. Agent Turris sat with headphones on, her face expressionless as she listened to the audio file from Lily Chen's wire. The entire night. The gunfight. The safe house. The confession. The intimacy. She removed the headphones slowly and looked at Agent Kim. She's compromised, Torres said, her voice ice. Completely. What do you want to do? Torres pulled out her phone. We're pulling her out, tomorrow. And this time she doesn't get a choice. I woke to Alessandro's phone buzzing. Dawn light filtered through the safe house's boarded windows, casting shadows across his face as he checked the screen. Problem? I asked, still half asleep. My contact at the main safe house. Everyone's secure. Kozlov's men never found them. Relief flooded his expression. We got there first by going nowhere. I sat up, pulling the sheet around me. They'll try again. I know. We need to move the families today. He kissed my forehead, a gesture so domestic it made my chest ache. I have to make calls. There's coffee in the kitchen. While he coordinated his network in rapid Italian, I found my jacket and checked my own phone. The backup one I kept for emergency. 17 missed calls from Torres. 3 text messages, each more urgent than the last. Parking garage. 10th and Main. 9 a.m. Come alone. This is not optional, Chun. Last chance. Or you're done. My stomach dropped. I looked at the time. 8:47 a.m. Alessandro! I called. I need to go. He appeared in the doorway. Where? Torres wants to meet. She knows something's wrong. I pulled on my clothes, my mind racing. If I don't show, she escalate. Send teams looking for me. For you. His jaw tightened. It's a trap. Probably. But I need to know what she knows. I strapped on my weapon. I can handle Torres. Lily, I'll be fine. Trust me. Those words, trust me. The same ones I'd been asking of him. He studied my face, then nodded slowly. Call me when you're clear. And Lily? If anything feels wrong, run. I arrived at the parking garage at 8:59. Torres stood beside a black SUV on the 3rd level. Agent Kim and 2 other agents flanking her. Not a meeting. An extraction team. My hand instinctively moved toward my weapon. Don't, Torres said sharply. We're not here to arrest you. Yet. I walked closer, keeping distance between us. What's this about? You tell me. Torres pulled out a tablet and pressed play. My own voice filled the concrete space. The safe house. Last night. Do you want this? Do you want me? Alessandro's reply. I know who you are. And you know who I am. All the ugly truth of it. Then sounds that made my face burn. Intimate. Unmistakable. The wire. I'd forgotten about the wire in my jacket pocket. You're compromised, Torres said, her voice cold with disgust. Sleeping with the target. Actively helping him evade capture. Do you have any idea how many federal laws you've broken? My hands clenched into fists. You want to talk about broken laws? I have evidence of you meeting with Viktor Kozlov. Bank records showing you've been on his payroll for over a year. Police reports you buried about missing women and children. Torres' expression didn't change. That evidence is fabricated. Dante is a criminal who's very good at creating false trails. The video of you shaking hands with Kozlov is fabricated? I challenged. The offshore accounts in your shell company's name. Something flickered in her eyes. Surprised that I had specifics. Calculation about how much I actually knew. Whatever he told you, whatever he showed you, it's manipulation, Torres said. He's using you, Chen. Classic honey trap. Make you think you're special. That he cares about you. While he extracts information about our investigation. Or, I said quietly, you're dirty, and he's the only one actually trying to stop human trafficking in this city while you enable it for profit. Kim shifted uncomfortably. The other agents exchanged glances. They didn't know. Torres had kept them in the dark. Last chance, Torres said, her voice dropping to a lethal whisper. Come with us now. Enter protective custody. Cooperate fully. We'll call it temporary insanity, trauma bonding. You might keep your career, might avoid prison, or you walk away right now, and I put out a warrant for your arrest as an accomplice to organized crime. You'll be a fugitive, hunted. Everything you've worked for, gone. She stepped closer. Choose Agent Chen, the Bureau or a criminal who's using you. I thought about Alessandro's scars. His daughter. The families he protected. The truth in his eyes when he told me his story. Then I thought about Torres shaking Kozlov's hand. The buried police reports. The women and children no one was looking for because people like her made them invisible. You're right about one thing, I said, reaching under my shirt. Torres tensed, her hand moving to her weapon. But I wasn't reaching for my gun. I pulled out the wire I'd forgotten to remove, the one that had been recording everything. The adhesive tore skin as I ripped it free. I did make a choice. I dropped the wire on the concrete, watched it bounce once, twice. Then I stepped on it, grinding the device under my heel until the tiny red light went dark. You're making a mistake, Torres said. No, I'm finally doing my job right, protecting people from criminals. I met her eyes. The real ones. I turned and walked toward the exit, my heart pounding, waiting for Torres to order my arrest. To shoot me in the back. Something. But she let me go. Maybe because Kim and the others had heard too much. Maybe because arresting me would raise questions she couldn't answer. I made it to street level before I broke into a run. 20 minutes later, I burst into the safe house. Alessandro was on his phone, but dropped it when he saw my face.
What happened? Tiara's knows.
About us. About last night. She tried to extract me. I was breathless, shaking. I walked away. I destroyed my wire. I'm officially a fugitive, he finished. Yes, because of me. Because of the truth. I moved toward him. Because I'd rather be on the run with someone fighting for justice than protected by people enabling evil. He pulled me against him, his arms tight around me. There's no going back from this, Lily. You understand that? You're in my world now. All the danger that comes with it. I know. I pulled back to look at his face. So now what? Now I tell you something. His dark eyes held mine. I've always known about the wire. Every safe house has signal jammers. Nothing you said was transmitted after we entered this building. My breath caught. But Torres played audio from the car. From earlier. He touched my face gently. The intimacy, our conversation about Sophia, your commitment to this, she never heard any of it. The wire died the moment you walked through that door. Then why let me think? Because I needed to know if you'd choose me even when you thought it cost you everything. His voice was rough with emotion. Torres gave you an out, protection, your career. A clean escape from all of this. And I chose you, I whispered. And you chose me. He rested his forehead against mine. I was waiting for you to choose me over them, Lily. And you just did. I kissed him then, pouring everything into it, relief, commitment. The terrifying freedom of burning down my old life for something truer. When we broke apart, he smiled. Dangerous and tender at once.
Welcome to the family, Agent Chen. He laced his fingers through mine. Now let's go meet my daughter.
She's been asking about the woman who saved her papa's life. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You chose wrong, Chen. Now you're both targets. Victor sends his regards. Torres Alessandro read over my shoulder, his expression darkening. They're coming, I said. Let them come. He grabbed his jacket, checking his weapon. But first, we get Sophia somewhere they'll never find her. Then we finish this. How? His smile was all predator. By exposing everything. Torres, Kozlov, the whole corrupt system. But we need one more thing. What? Proof that even they can't deny. Hard evidence of a crime in progress. He pulled up a photo on his phone shipping manifests, dates, locations. Kozlov has a shipment arriving tomorrow night. 20 women from Eastern Europe. If we can document it, photograph it, get irrefutable proof, the FBI will have to act. Even Torres. I felt my old training kick in. Strategy forming. We'll need surveillance equipment. Backup. Exit strategy. I have all of that. He squeezed my hand. What I didn't have was someone who could make it stick in court. An FBI agent with unimpeachable credentials, until today, who can testify that she witnessed it firsthand. Sting operation. Our sting operation. He pulled me toward the door. Together. The drive to Sophia's safe house took us 2 hours north, through winding mountain roads to a secluded property surrounded by pine trees. Alessandro's knuckles were white on the steering wheel the entire time. She's going to love you, he said, though I couldn't tell if he was reassuring me or himself. What if she doesn't? Then I'll have failed at the most important thing, teaching her to recognize good people when she sees them. He glanced at me. You're good people, Lily Chen. Even when you wore a wire. The safe house was a modest cabin, smoke curling from the chimney. An older woman appeared on the porch as we approached Alessandro's former mother-in-law, Rosa, who'd helped raise Sophia after her daughter's death. Alessandro! A small figure burst from the door, dark curls flying. Papa! I watched as Alessandro scooped up his daughter, spinning her once before holding her tight. Sophia was all limbs and energy, 8 years old with her father's dark eyes and a smile that could light the world. I missed you, Piccola, he murmured into her hair. You said you'd come yesterday. Sophia pulled back with a pout. Nona said you were busy with work. I was. But I brought someone special to meet you. He set her down, turning her to face me. Sophia, this is Lily. She's very important to me.
Sophia studied me with unnervingly intelligent eyes. Are you Papa's girlfriend?
I opened my mouth, unsure how to answer, but Alessandro spoke first. Yes, he said simply. If she have us. My heart squeezed. Sophia tilted her head, considering. Do you like books? Papa reads to me every night when he's here. But sometimes he does the voices wrong. I love books, I said, crouching to her level. And I promise to do all the voices right. Sophia's smile was instant and genuine. Okay, you can stay. Just like that, I was accepted. Inside, while Rosa prepared lunch, Sophia dragged me to her room to show me her collection of illustrated fairy tales. She read to me in a mix of English and Italian, her small hand occasionally touching my arm as if to make sure I was still there. Alessandro watched from the doorway, his expression so tender it hurt to look at. She doesn't warm up to people easily, Rosa said later as we ate. After her mother died, Alessandro was so consumed with grief and building his protection network that Sophia learned to be cautious. To not trust easily. She trusts you, I said to Alessandro. Because I've never lied to her. He took my hand under the table. About who I am, what I do, why it matters. Children understand justice better than adults sometimes. They haven't learned to compromise their morals yet. After lunch, Alessandro gathered his inner circle for a meeting. I expected hardened criminals. Instead, I met Marco, a former teacher who'd lost his family to Kozlov's trafficking. Elena, a social worker who'd been helping Alessandro relocate rescued women for 3 years. David, an ex-cop forced out for trying to expose corruption. These weren't criminals. They were people the system had failed, who'd found purpose in Alessandro's network. This is Lily. Alessandro introduced me. FBI, but one of us now. They studied me with varying degrees of suspicion and curiosity. She destroyed her career to help us. Alessandro continued. She's going to help us document Kozlov's shipment tomorrow night. Make it stick in a way they can't bury. Elena nodded slowly. We've been trying to get evidence for years. But every time we get close, someone tips them off. Not this time, I said. This time, we control the information. We spent hours planning. Entry points, surveillance positions, contingency exits. It felt like being back in the bureau. Except this time, I trusted every person in the room. As evening fell, Alessandro and I walked the property's perimeter with Sophia, who insisted on showing me her favorite climbing tree. She chattered about school, friends, the rabbit she was hoping to get for her birthday. Normal, innocent. Everything her father was fighting to preserve. Papa, Sophia said suddenly. Is Lily going to stay? For real? Alessandro looked at me, the question in his eyes. I'm not going anywhere, I said, meaning it. Sophia beamed, then ran ahead to chase a butterfly. She needs this, Alessandro said quietly. A mother figure. Someone who isn't just protecting her, but choosing to be in her life. I choose both of you, I said. Whatever comes. He pulled me close, kissing me softly. When this is over, my phone buzzed. The burner Alessandro had given me. Unknown number. I answered. Hello? Agent Chen. Tora's voice was ice. We need to talk, now. We have nothing to. Victor knows you have the drive. Torres cut in. He knows about the safe house. Rosa's cabin. Coordinates and everything. My blood turned cold. How? Because I told him. Her voice held no remorse. You made your choice. This is mine. You have 30 minutes before Kozlov's men arrive. If Alessandro wants his daughter to live, he'll trade himself for her. Those are the terms. Torres, you can't. 30 minutes, Chen. Run, hide, fight. Doesn't matter. He knows where you are. And he's coming for everyone you love. The line went dead. I looked at Alessandro. My face must have shown everything because his expression transformed into something primal and terrified. What happened? We need to move. Now. Kozlov knows. A scream cut through the evening air. Rosa's voice. Sophia, Sophia, where are you? We ran. Through the trees toward the cabin. Rosa stood on the porch, her face white with terror. She was right here by the tree, and then her voice broke. Alessandro. She's gone. The climbing tree. The butterfly. Sophia had been 50 feet from us, visible one moment and vanished the next. Alessandro's phone buzzed. A photo message. Sophia, unconscious in the back of a vehicle. Zip ties on her wrists. Then a text. Trade. The girl for Dante. Midnight. Come alone. You know where. Alessandro stared at the photo. His daughter's small form. His face draining of all color. No. I breathed. No. He turned to me and I saw something break behind his eyes. The controlled, strategic man replaced by a father facing his worst nightmare. I'm going, he said, his voice hollow. Whatever they want. I'm going. Alessandro, it's a trap. They'll kill you both. Then I die with my daughter. He started for his car. You tried to save me once, Lily. Don't ask me to abandon her. I grabbed his arm. I'm not asking you to abandon her. I'm asking you to let me help you save her. This isn't your fight anymore. The hell it isn't. I forced him to look at me. You have 30 people in your network. Resources. Intelligence. We have time before midnight. 6 hours. His voice cracked. They have my little girl. Rosa collapsed on the porch behind us, sobbing. I took Alessandro's face in my hands. Then we use every second. We find where they're taking her. We plan. We move as a team. My voice hardened. And we make Viktor Kozlov regret the day he touched your family. Something reignited in his eyes. Not hope. Something darker. More dangerous. Call everyone, he said to Marco, who'd appeared with the others. Every asset. Every contact. I want to know where Kozlov is holding operations tonight. He turned back to me. You're sure about this? No extraction team? No FBI backup? Just us against his entire organization. I stopped being FBI the moment I wrote that warning on a napkin. I said. I'm yours now. We get her back together. Or we burn their world down trying. Alessandro kissed me, fierce and desperate. Then let's go to war. Alessandro's network moved with military precision. Within 2 hours, we had 3 possible locations for Kozlov's operations. Within 4, we'd narrowed it to 1. The abandoned shipyard on the industrial waterfront where his trafficking operations centered. Thermal imaging shows 15 bodies inside the main warehouse, Marco reported, pointing to the surveillance photos. 2 smaller heat signatures in the northeast corner. One could be Sophia. Could be? Alessandro's voice was razor sharp. The image quality isn't perfect, but the size matches. Marco pulled up another screen. Guards posted at every entrance, snipers on the roof. They're expecting you. I studied the layout, my old tactical training surfacing. Front door approach is suicide. They'll gun him down before he gets within 20 feet. That's the point. Elena's voice was grim. Viktor doesn't want to trade. He wants Alessandro dead and Sophia as leverage against the rest of us. Then we don't give him what he wants. I turned to Alessandro. We need a distraction. Something big enough to split their forces. I'm listening. The FBI, I said. Torres wants us both. She's dirty, but she still has to maintain appearances. If I offer her something she can't refuse, you're talking about turning yourself in. Alessandro said flatly. No, I'm talking about making her think I am. I pulled out my phone. Torres knows about the shipment tomorrow night. But she doesn't know we know about Sophia. What if I offer her a deal? Me and the evidence drive in exchange for immunity and protection. David, the ex-cop, nodded slowly. She'd have to bring a team. Standard extraction protocol. Armed agents, vehicles. Exactly. And if we time it right, the FBI shows up exactly when we need chaos. Alessandro finished, understanding dawning. They think they're arresting you. Instead, they walk into a war zone between us and Kozlov. And in the confusion, I continued, we extract Sophia. It was risky, insane. But it was the only play we had. Alessandro pulled me aside as the others continued planning.
If this goes wrong, it won't. If it does, he insisted, promise me you'll get Sofia out. Even if I don't make it.
Alessandro, promise me, Lily.
His eyes were desperate.
She needs someone who'll love her, protect her, be the mother she lost.
Tears burned my eyes.
I promise, but you're going to be fine.
We both are. All three of us. He kissed me like it might be the last time.
At 11:30 p.m., I called Torres from a burner phone.
Agent Chen. Her voice was smug. Changed your mind about that extraction?
I have a deal for you, I said.
Me, the evidence drive, and full testimony about Dante's operations. In exchange for immunity and witness protection.
Silence.
Then, why the sudden cooperation?
Because I'm a dead woman either way. At least this way, I might survive. I let my voice shake, not hard. Given the circumstances.
Kozlov knows I have the evidence. He's hunting me.
I'd rather take my chances with the Bureau. Where's Dante? I don't know. We split up after you called. He said something about handling Kozlov himself. I paused.
I think he's planning something stupid. Location?
I gave her coordinates for the shipyard east entrance, away from where we'd actually staged the rescue.
1 hour. Come with a team.
If I see Kozlov's men, I'm gone.
1 hour, Torres agreed.
And Chen? If this is a trap, I will personally ensure you spend the rest of your life in a cell. It's not a trap.
I'm done playing hero.
I just want to survive.
I hung up and looked at Alessandro. She's coming.
Then so are we.
We approached the shipyard from 3 directions. Alessandro and his core team through the water access. Marco's group from the south. Me alone through the main road, visible, vulnerable, the perfect bait.
At 12:15, I saw the FBI vehicles arrive at the east entrance. 6 SUVs, full tactical team.
Torres had brought an army.
Perfect. At 12:20, I walked toward the main warehouse entrance, hands visible, no weapon. Kozlov's guards spotted me immediately.
I'm here to trade, I shouted. Me for the girl.
The warehouse door opened.
Viktor Kozlov stepped out. Sofia held in front of him, a gun to her head. She was crying, terrified, but alive. Agent Chen, Viktor said with a cold smile.
How noble. But I'm afraid the terms have changed. Let her go.
You have me. I have you already. He nodded to his men who leveled weapons at me. Now I'm waiting for Dante. He should be here any... Gunfire erupted from the east entrance.
The FBI team engaging with Kozlov's outer guards. Exactly as planned.
Viktor's head snapped toward the sound.
What the... Now! I shouted.
Alessandro and his team burst from the water access, weapons firing. Marco's group hit from the south. Chaos exploded across the shipyard. 3 forces colliding in the darkness. I ran for Sofia. Viktor turned, gun tracking me, but David tackled him from behind.
Sofia stumbled forward, and I grabbed her, shielding her body with mine as bullets tore through the air. Lily, Sofia sobbed. Where's Papa?
Right here, Piccola. Alessandro materialized beside us, returning fire as we ran for cover behind shipping containers. You're okay. I've got you. But we were pinned down. Kozlov's men had us surrounded on 3 sides.
And the FBI team was pushing in from the east, thinking we were all targets. Then Torres appeared, walking calmly through the gunfire like she owned it. She spotted us behind the containers and smiled.
Stand down, she ordered her team. I have eyes on Chen and Dante.
The FBI weapons turned toward us. My blood ran cold.
She wasn't here to help. She was here to eliminate loose ends. Torres, don't do this, I called out. There are federal witnesses here. Civilians. Sofia is 8 years old.
Unfortunate casualties in a raid gone wrong, Torres said. Dante, step out with your hands up. Or I give the order to fire.
Alessandro looked at me, then at Sofia in his arms, calculating, knowing we couldn't win against both forces.
I made my choice.
I stood, pulling my weapon, not pointing it at Kozlov's men or the FBI team. Pointing it directly at Agent Torres.
Nobody moves. I said, my voice carrying across the shipyard. Nobody shoots. Or I put a bullet in a federal agent, and you all become witnesses to murder. Torres' eyes widened. Chun, stand down. No. I kept my weapon steady. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to order your team to stand down. You're going to let us walk out of here with Sophia. And in exchange, I don't tell your superiors about your partnership with Viktor Kozlov. You have no proof. Actually, I said, pulling a small recorder from my pocket with my free hand. I've been recording this entire conversation, including the part where you set up an FBI raid to eliminate witnesses and protect a human trafficker. I'd started recording the moment I called her. Every word, every admission. Torres' face went pale. Behind her, Agent Kim and the other agents shifted uncomfortably, hearing the truth for the first time. You're bluffing, Torres said. Am I? I raised my voice. Tell them, Torres. Tell your team why you're really here. Why you called Kozlov tonight and told him where to find an 8-year-old girl. Agent Kim stepped forward. Ma'am, is this true? Stand down, Kim, Torres snapped. Agent Tires. A new voice cut through the tension. A man in a bureau windbreaker stepped into view, older, authoritative. I'm Assistant Director Morrison. I think you need to answer Agent Kim's question. My heart leaped. Morrison. I'd heard of him. The one clean supervisor in the regional office. The one investigating corruption. Torres' hand moved toward her weapon. I wouldn't, Morrison said. 3 more agents appeared behind him, weapons drawn. It's over, Sarah. We've been monitoring this situation since Chun's extraction attempt. Recorded everything. Your communications with Kozlov. The offshore accounts. All of it. Torres looked at me with pure hatred. You set me up. No, I said. You set yourself up. I just made sure someone was watching. Morrison's team moved in, disarming Torres and placing her in cuffs. Kozlov's men, seeing the chaos, started surrendering. Victor himself tried to run but was tackled by Alessandro's team. In the sudden silence, I lowered my weapon and turned to Alessandro and Sofia. Is it over? Sofia asked in a small voice. Alessandro held her close, his eyes meeting mine over her head. Yes, Piccola. It's over. But as Morrison approached us, I knew the truth was more complicated. Agent Chun, he said. We need to talk. Morrison led us away from the chaos ambulances. FBI agents processing arrest. Kozlov screaming in Russian as he was dragged to a vehicle. Sofia clung to Alessandro, her face buried in his shoulder, refusing to let go. We ended up in a mobile command center parked at the edge of the shipyard. Inside, Morrison gestured for us to sit. Alessandro kept Sofia in his lap, her small body finally still after hours of terror. First things first, Morrison said, looking at Sofia. You're safe now. No one will hurt you again. Sofia's dark eyes studied him with suspicion learned too young. Promise? I promise. Morrison's voice was gentle. Then he turned to Alessandro and me, his expression hardening. Now, we need to discuss what happens next. Am I under arrest? I asked. That depends. Morrison pulled out a tablet, scrolling through files. Over the past 6 months, you've violated numerous federal laws. Obstruction of justice, aiding a fugitive, destruction of federal property, conspiracy. He looked up. You also exposed one of the largest corruption rings in bureau history and helped dismantle a human trafficking network we've been unable to touch for years. So which charges stick? Alessandro asked, his voice controlled but dangerous. None of them. If you cooperate. Morrison pulled up video footage, the warehouse we just escaped. We've been investigating Torres for 18 months, Kozlov for longer. But we couldn't move without proof that would hold up in court. Proof that you two just handed us on a silver platter. He swiped to another screen. Photos of Torres and Kozlov meeting. Bank records. Communication logs. The evidence drive you stole from Dante's safe house, we've verified it. Every file. Combined with tonight's operation and Torres' recorded admissions, we have enough to take down not just her and Kozlov, but 17 other officials in their network. What do you want? I asked carefully. Full cooperation. Testimony in exchange for immunity. Morrison looked at me. You, Agent Chen, will be offered reinstatement with full honors once the trials conclude. Your actions tonight will be classified as deep undercover work that went beyond normal protocols, but achieved unprecedented results. My chest tightened. Reinstatement. My badge back. My career salvaged. But at what cost? And him? I asked, nodding at Alessandro. Morrison's expression grew complicated. Alessandro Dante has been under investigation for organized crime activities for years. However, upon review of the actual evidence, not the fabricated files provided, we found no proof of illegal activities. The criminal organization he runs appears to be a community protection network, operating in gray areas but not violating federal statutes. Alessandro tensed. Appears to be? You've killed people, Mr. Dante. We know this. Self-defense claims only go so far. Every person I've killed was either actively trying to kill me or attacking innocent people under my protection, Alessandro said coldly. I've never initiated violence. Only responded to it. Can you prove that? Every incident is documented. Witnesses. Evidence. Alessandro's jaw tightened. I've been building a legal defense for years in case this moment came. Morrison studied him for a long moment. Here's my offer. You cooperate fully with our investigation. Provide all documentation and testimony about Kozlov's operations and Taurus corruption. In exchange, the organized crime investigation into you personally will be closed due to insufficient evidence. What about my network? My people? As long as they're not actively committing crimes, they're of no interest to us. Morrison paused. However, you'll need to regularize your operations. No more vigilante justice. If you want to protect your community, do it through legal channels. Private security firm. Community outreach. But no more operating outside the law. Alessandro looked at Sophia, then at me. I could see the calculation in his eyes weighing freedom against compromise, protection against exposure. I want it in writing, Alessandro said. Full immunity for me and everyone in my network. Recognition that our actions were protective, not predatory. An ongoing consultation with the FBI on trafficking cases in our territory. Consultation? Morrison raised an eyebrow. We know these communities better than you do. We have relationships, trust, information networks you can't access. Alessandro leaned forward. Use us as resources. Officially. Pay us as consultants if you want. But acknowledge that what we do has value. Morrison considered this. I'll take it to my superiors. But Chen, he turned to me. This would mean working alongside Dante officially. Can you maintain professional objectivity? I looked at Alessandro. At Sophia sleeping now in his arms, finally safe. At the man who'd shown me what real justice looked like when the system failed. No, I said honestly. I can't maintain objectivity. Because I'm in love with him. And I'm going to help raise his daughter, and I believe in what he's built more than I ever believed in the Bureau's politics. Morrison blinked, surprised by the bluntness. But, I continued, I can maintain integrity. I can ensure that any collaboration between the FBI and Dante's network is ethical, legal, and serves the communities that need protection. I can be the bridge between his world and ours. If you'll let me. Silence filled the command center. Then Morrison smiled, a small, tired expression. You know what, Chun? After tonight, I think we need more agents like you. Ones who remember why we took the oath in the first place. He stood. I'll make the calls. Get you both immunity deals drafted. Expect paperwork by morning. He moved toward the door, then paused. One more thing, Dante. Your daughter, she's going to need therapy. Witness protection services. The Bureau can provide that. She has family, Alessandro said. And now she has Lily. We'll take care of her. Morrison nodded and left. We sat in silence for a moment, the weight of what had just happened settling over us. Did we just win? I asked quietly. I think we just survived, Alessandro said. He looked down at Sophia. And sometimes that's the same thing. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. You think you've won, but you've just made powerful enemies.
Kozlov has brothers, associates. This isn't over. A friend I showed Alessandro the message. His expression darkened. They're right. Taking down Torres and Victor opens a power vacuum. Others will try to fill it. Then we'll stop them too. Lily, I'm not walking away, Alessandro. Not from you, not from Sofia, not from this fight. I took his free hand. We do this together. Legal, official, but together. He studied my face, then nodded slowly. Together. Sofia stirred, lifting her head. Papa? Can we go home now? Yes, Piccola. He kissed her forehead. We can go home. As we left the command center, stepping into the early morning light, I realized I had no idea what home meant anymore. Not my FBI apartment, not my old life. Home was wherever these two people were. Morrison met us outside. One more thing, he said, handing Alessandro a folder. We found this in Torres' office. Thought you should see it. Alessandro opened it. His face went pale. Inside, surveillance photos of Sofia, at school, at the cabin, playing in the yard, dated over the past 6 months. Torres had been planning this for a long time, Morrison said quietly. Using your daughter as leverage was always the end game. Alessandro's hands shook as he closed the folder. If Lily hadn't warned me that night at the bar, we'd both be dead, and Sofia would be Kozlov's prisoner. I finished. But we're not. We're here. We won, but as we walked toward Alessandro's car, I couldn't shake the feeling that the text was right. This wasn't over, it was just beginning. The sign outside our office read, Dante Chen Security Consultants, Private Investigation and Community Protection Services, legal, licensed, legitimate, and busier than ever. I looked up from my computer as the door opened. Sofia burst in, backpack bouncing, her dark curls pulled into a ponytail. Lily, guess what? I got an A on my book report. She waved a paper triumphantly. That's amazing. I stood to hug her. Which book did you write about? The one you gave me. About the girl who becomes a detective. She beamed. Mrs. Rodriguez said my analysis of the protagonist's moral journey was exceptionally mature for a 4th grader. That's because you're brilliant. Alessandro appeared behind her, carrying 2 coffee cups. He handed me one prepared exactly how I liked it. And because you have the best tutor. Lily's the best, Sofia agreed, already pulling out homework. Can you help me with math after dinner? Of course. She settled at the small desk we'd set up in the corner of the office, her space in our shared world. Therapy had helped. Time had helped more. She still had nightmares sometimes. But mostly she was just a happy 10-year-old who loved books, wanted a puppy, and complained about math homework. Normal, beautiful. Hours. Alessandro moved behind my desk, reading over my shoulder. The Ferretti case? Just finished the report. The daughter wasn't running away. She was hiding from her stepfather's abuse. She's safe now. In protective custody. I closed the laptop. Mrs. Ferretti already paid. And thanked us for what the police wouldn't do. That's the 3rd domestic case this month. Word travels. I leaned back against him. People know we actually listen. Actually help. Our business had grown beyond what we'd imagined. Private investigations for families the police dismissed. Security for small businesses in vulnerable neighborhoods. Consultation with the FBI on trafficking cases. Morrison kept his word about that. We'd built something real. Something that helped people without breaking laws. Mostly. Speaking of listening, Alessandro said quietly. I got a call from Marco. The Kozlov brothers are making moves again. Testing boundaries in the East District. My jaw tightened. Victor was in federal prison, but his family had tried twice to reclaim his territory. Each time, we pushed back through legal channels when possible, other means when necessary. What kind of moves? Harassment. Intimidation. Nothing we can prove yet. His hand found mine. But we're watching. This was our life now. Walking the line between law and justice. Using official channels first, but never forgetting that sometimes the system failed and people needed protection the courts couldn't provide.
We'd become experts in the gray spaces. Papa, Lily, can we get pizza tonight? Sophia called. And watch a movie? Yes to both, Alessandro said. But homework first. Always homework first, Sophia grumbled good-naturedly. My phone buzzed. Text from Morrison. Good work on the Ferretti case. Keep it up, Chen, I smiled. My relationship with the Bureau was complicated now. I wasn't an agent anymore. I declined reinstatement, choosing this life instead. But I consulted regularly. Testified when needed. Maintained enough distance to keep my independence while staying connected enough to effect change from the inside. Best of both worlds. Or the least compromised version of an impossible situation. As evening fell, we locked up the office and drove home a modest house in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing like Alessandro's former glass mansion. This place had a yard for Sophia, a garden I'd planted, rooms filled with books and laughter instead of shadows and secrets. After dinner, after Sophia went to bed clutching the new mystery novel I'd bought her, Alessandro and I sat on our back porch. The same ritual we developed over months' quiet time together. Stars overhead, the weight of the day slowly lifting. I have something for you, Alessandro said suddenly. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside, a ring. Simple, elegant, with a small diamond that caught the moonlight. And underneath it, a laminated card. My FBI credentials, not the badge they'd offered back, but the one I'd worn when I first met him. The one he'd held in my apartment that night. Lily Chen, he said softly. You saved my life with 7 words on a napkin. You saved my daughter with courage I still can't fully comprehend. You built this new life with me when you could have walked away 100 times. He opened the box further, revealing one more thing tucked inside, a napkin. Aged now, but preserved. With my handwriting still visible. They know you're here. Run. You kept it, I whispered. I've carried it every day since. His eyes held mine. It reminds me of the moment everything changed. When a woman I didn't know chose mercy over duty. Chose me when she had no reason to. He took my hand. I know marriage means something different for us. No white wedding, no normal life. Just this complicated, dangerous, beautiful gray existence. But Lily, I want you to be my wife. Officially. Legally. In every way that matters. Tears blurred my vision. Alessandro, you don't have to answer now. I know it's... Yes, I interrupted. Yes, of course, yes. His smile was brilliant in the darkness. He slipped the ring on my finger, then pulled me close, kissing me with the passion and tenderness that had defined us from the beginning. Lily Dante has a nice ring to it, he murmured against my lips. It does. I pulled back to look at his face. Though professionally, I'm keeping Chen. Our clients trust that name now. Dante Chen, he agreed. Like the business. Like us. 2 separate identities that work better together. I picked up the preserved napkin, studying the words I'd written in another lifetime. I told you to run, I said quietly. I should have known you'd make me run with you instead. Not run, Alessandro corrected, wrapping his arms around me. Move forward, together, into whatever comes next. Sophia appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Are you guys being mushy again? Yes, I said, laughing through tears. Okay, can I see the ring? She patted over, examining my hand. Pretty. Does this mean Lily is officially my mom now? Alessandro and I exchanged glances. If you want her to be, Alessandro said. Sophia considered this with characteristic seriousness. Then she wrapped her arms around both of us. I want her to be. She makes the best pancakes, and she doesn't do the voices wrong when she reads. High praise, I managed, holding them both. This was my family now. Complicated, unconventional. Built from the ruins of my old life and the chaos of his. Perfect in its imperfection. Later, after Sophia went back to bed and Alessandro and I sat under the stars again, he asked the question I'd been waiting for. Do you regret it? Everything you gave up? I thought about my FBI career. The badge. The certainty of black and white, right and wrong. Then I thought about Sophia's laughter. Alessandro's love. The families we'd helped. The lives we'd saved by refusing to accept that justice only existed within official channels. I gave up a job, I said. I gained a purpose, a family. A life that actually means something. I held up the napkin one last time before tucking it carefully back in the box. I warned you to run that night, I said. Best decision I ever made. Why? He asked, echoing that first question from so long ago. I smiled, leaning into him. Because some people are worth burning down your whole world to save. And some worlds deserve to burn so something better can grow. He kissed my temple. Welcome to the gray, Mrs. Dante. I've been here all along, I whispered back. I was just waiting for you to show me I belonged. And as we sat together under the stars, former FBI agent and former vigilante, now partners in every sense, I knew that the warning on that napkin hadn't just saved his life. It had saved mine too.